For our presentation, we're going to be doing evidence-based intervention. My name is Ghaida.
And my name is Maddy.
So a little background information. We're going to be looking at a case study about an 8-year-old named Matt. Some strength he has is creative, curious, outgoing. Weaknesses, he has difficulty focusing, impulsibility, and struggles with following instructions and completing tasks. Matt comes from a 2-parent household with both parents working full-time, and he has one younger sibling. His cultural background is Latino. He attends a public school and participates in after-school activities and lives in a suburban area. He has some supports, including parents, school counselors, pediatricians, and community resources. So some developmental challenges that Matt has is inattention, academic difficulties, behavioral challenges, family stress, and hyperactivity and impulsivity. So he has difficulty sustaining attention and completing tasks. He struggles with writing and reading. He has difficulty regulating his emotions, and he's often restless and fidgety. This behavior also has its impacts on Matt's family because his parents are unable to provide support for him and also deal with their own feelings of frustration and stress. So to assess Matt's needs and challenges, we'll have to use a comprehensive evaluation process that includes the following steps: clinical interview, behavioral observations, and diagnostic evaluation. So in clinical interview, we'll conduct clinical interview with Matt and his family to gather information about medical history, developmental milestones, and current symptoms. We'll also ask about his family concerns. Behavioral observations is basically observing Matt in various settings, such as home and school. This is used to see how he acts in certain settings and use the rating scales completed by his parents and teachers to gather information about his behavior. And finally, we'll use the DSM-5 criteria to diagnose ADHD and rule out any other possible conditions that may affect Matt's behavior and attention. Then step number 4 is cognitive assessment, is basically using the Welcher Intelligence Scale for Children to assess Matt's cognitive abilities, including attention, working memory, and processing speed. And the academic assessment, we'll also use that again. We can use the Woodcock-Johnson test of achievement to assess Matt's academic skill, a social emotional assessment, and also the child behavioral checklist. This is used to assess Matt's social emotional functioning and identify any co-occurring conditions such as anxiety or depression.
So the type of intervention that we're going to be using after his diagnosis, we'll be building an IEP, an individualized education plan for Matt. It will describe the types of supports he needs based on his strengths and weaknesses, as well as the supports available to him based on his school environment. Some things included in individual education plans are descriptions of the child's strengths and needs, an outline of special education program and services that will be received, a statement about the methods by which your child's progress will be reviewed, and a transition plan that includes specific goals, actions required, persons responsible for actions, and timelines for educational transitions where your child requires support. Some parts of the education plan that are going to be specific to Matt that will be tested over a 6-month period to prove the effectiveness for Matt's specific case is focusing on his reading and writing. So Matt will be provided with one-on-one support with an EA and regulating his emotions. Matt's IEP will include self-regulation skills through a checkmark system to provide him motivation in the classroom. He will also be focusing on his hyperactivity, be provided with fidget toys in the classroom, and more outside time to have attention breaks from the classroom. The intervention plan will be tested out in the school setting first. This is because that's where Matt spends most of his time. The child will participate in the IEP as often as behaviorally needed and be used as a guide to encourage Matt to learn his own coping skills and management. The creation of the IEP, Matt will be a part of the entire process of doing so. So based on previous research, we focused on 3 studies. The first 2 studies looked at different views from special education teachers as well as teachers on the effectiveness of IEPs. In the second study, they look at 3 goals that are used for IEPs that teachers found most important: improving school readiness, improving communication, and improving pre-academic performance in targeted areas. It was found that school readiness was the most important goal from IEPs with 63.6%. This demonstrates the importance of early intervention and shows how an IEP can work positively in Matt's case to improve his educational experience and transition to middle school and high school. Finally, the third study is a paper that looks at the benefits and barriers to including students in their own participation in creating IEP plans for themselves. It is also discussed how parents believe that including them in this process improves problem-solving skills, self-determination skills, leadership skills, self-advocacy, and self-awareness. This study indicates that including Matt in the process of creating his own IEP is extremely beneficial to his own development. That concludes our presentation on Matt and his individualized education plan for his evidence-based intervention.
Thank you everyone for listening.